What's up, guys? This is Mike from Simmons Industries. I've got something exciting to show all the Toyota guys out there today. We are working with a new company called Flatout Suspension, and they're about to change the way you look at 3-inch lifts for your trucks. So I just wanted to show you some of their products right here. So this right here is Flatout's new 3-inch suspension lift for Tacomas, and there's more to come for 4Runners and the SUVs. And I just wanted to go over some of the crazy features on these things. So typically you want to put a 3-inch lift on your Tacoma. You're going to go towards an OME, a Bilstein. If you're looking at the low end side of things, typically the whole lift with springs and everything is going to cost you about $900. Or you can make the decision to go to the higher end King, Fox, do a true coilover setup, and then you're starting at $2,500 and up, depending on what you get. Until now, there really hasn't been an option that kind of gives you the features of both, the lower price, but some of the features of the bigger shocks. Flatout has absolutely killed it on these lifts, and I'm going to show you why. Now, the Flatout suspension coilovers compared to your stock TRD off-road Bilstein 4600. Now, the 5100s are the same style, just a slightly larger body shock. I mean, you can immediately see on the bottom the massive size difference between the mounts. That is a common failure point on these shocks. So it's great to see that they've reinforced that. You've got a threaded body versus a non-adjustable, or in the 5100, you've only got the 3 or 4 presets with the clip. This one can be adjusted anywhere from stock ride height all the way up to 3 inches and everything in between. One really cool feature, you'll notice on a lot of the Toyota shocks, they run a special offset lower spring perch. Now that is so you can run an OEM style spring. Well, on the Flatout, they give you a spacer that will accept the OEM style spring, but you can slide this off completely and actually just run a 2.5-inch coilover spring. So if you really want to fine tune your setup, you don't have to apply an OEM style spring and be stuck with whatever people make for the Toyotas. Now moving up, you can see that most Bilsteins are not serviceable or rebuildable shocks. However, the Flatouts are fully serviceable. Let's see if I can show you this. All right. So they're fully serviceable, fully rebuildable. That is huge because you don't have to throw the shock away if it blows up. I mean, that's pretty much common practice with a 5100. Now, the thing that I slid up here is another amazing feature I wanted to show you guys. Factory installed high density foam bump stops. That is an option on most aftermarket coilovers, from the big names like King or Fox. It's crazy that these things come with them. Now, I'm sure you've already noticed the massive difference in the size of the shafts. Most entry-level shocks for Toyotas are going to use a 12mm shaft, a 14mm shaft, just like the factory coilovers. There are some, like Icon, that run a 16mm, but these things have a massive 7/8 shaft. Now, where do you commonly see that? On high-end bypasses and coilovers from Fox. They also use a 7/8 shaft. So to see that on what is supposed to be an entry-level shock is unbelievable. You've got your nice dust boot here, and then probably one of the coolest features is each one of these shocks comes factory set up with compression adjusters. That is a $400 option with most other shock brands. Just look at the quality difference. For comparison, that's a 5100. If you decide you want to run a true 2.5-inch coilover spring, you simply use these supplied top mounts on the shock to turn into a true coilover. These feature a removable and replaceable bushing and will work with any 2.5-inch spring. Just slide right onto the top of the coilover. Just look at the difference between these things and an Icon 2-inch shock. Now, the first thing you're going to notice is the massive shafts. 7/8 shafts versus a 14 or 16mm on most shocks. We've got our dust boot, which I've pulled down to just show you guys the shaft there. And then our compression adjusters on the bottom and some really nice poly bushings versus the cheap rubber ones you see on a lot of shocks. So another thing to look at, when you look at the welds on a cheaper shock, You know, you see these big MIG welds on the factory steel shocks. You look at the 5100s, these were probably done with a spool gun. If you look at the flat out coilovers, everything is precision TIG welded. These shocks are just crazy, crazy high quality. Now, I'm sure you're wondering by now, what is the price point of these shocks? And that is the best part. Even with all the features they have, the adjustability, everything, fully loaded, they're just under $1,200. It's almost a no-brainer. I don't know why you would want anything else. If you don't want to spend $2,500 to $3,000 on some Kings or Fox with the same adjustability that these already have, then there really is not another option. If you guys want to get a set of these ordered, just give me a call at the shop. You can message me on here on Instagram. You can message me on Facebook. I can get you set up with some quotes, estimated shipping time, and install as well. So what are you waiting for? Buy these things.